1. I have 2 roommates, and all 3 of us are in college. I'm writing this since I only have a month and a half until I move out. Thank God, please get me out. My first roommate is a literal toddler in an adult's body. She's incredibly emotionally clingy to me. She gets upset when I don't want to talk to her because I'm focused on studying, cleaning, cooking. I usually have my headphones on when I'm in the common area since I need music to keep me moving and motivated. Same. And it's also an indicator that I don't want to be bothered since I have limited free time. She bothers me anyway, though, by trying to talk to me, or literally staring at me while I do stuff. I kid you not, she has this kicked puppy attitude whenever I refuse to acknowledge her staring. Massive emotional leech or pick-me energy. She watches everything I do when she's in the kitchen with me, and often makes useless and annoying comments about what I'm eating, or how I'm preparing something. Probably because she eats like a toddler. Checks out, she makes gross and smelly food involving canned meats, and never clears out her leftovers or expired milk from the fridge. She acts like she is this protected, holier-than-thou class because of her pampered, work-free, everything-paid-for upbringing, when she is literally the bottom of the barrel in terms of work ethic and intelligence. I come from a similar background as her, but my parents actually had me working my butt off with chores in exchange for things like a new phone, or something else I want but don't need. They instilled in me from a very young age that money doesn't grow on trees, and the importance of a strong work ethic in both academics and keeping a house. I genuinely don't think she's ever done a day of housework, lawn work, or having a job. She tried to mansplain to me facts about my major just because she happened to watch a sitcom about it. She wouldn't last a single day in my shoes, which makes her attitude extremely frustrating. She has also openly made comments like, "I won't clean until you tell me to," and she tries to rope me into conversations about all the adult content she is assuming. Super weird and off-putting with how mentally immature she is. I think I've shut her down about that for the most part. I told her, the less I know the better, or I'm not interested in that. Enter kicked puppy attitude. This girl does not know me well enough to talk about that. She is getting too comfortable with me or too reliant on me. She tries to get me to validate her feelings and her poor life decisions. I get along with her well enough, though, because she isn't loud and I don't see her too often, but when I do have to interact with her, it is genuinely unbearable. She has such awful energy all the time, and the worst part is the staring and puppy eyes she does when I ignore her. The state of the kitchen is less of a concern compared to noise levels in the apartment. Noise is my biggest pet peeve. Speaking of cleaning, she acts like one of these 3 things when I ask her to pick up after herself. How do I do it? I don't know what to use. I've never cleaned before. This makes me super uncomfortable. I didn't sign up to parent my literal woman child of a roommate. I usually just direct her to what she needs and to figure out the rest herself. Then I promptly go back in my room and put my headphones back on. Silence. Okay, second roommate. I promise this part will be shorter. I just need to get this rant out of my system. I don't really know how to deal with my first roommate's emotional leeching, but I do deal with my second roommate's bull. This includes turning on the TV to loud volumes early on the weekends, I'm talking 7 a.m. on a Saturday morning, and spraying excessive amounts of air freshener when she knows I have awful allergies. I shut that down really fast with a direct confrontation since she ignores my texts, and thankfully neither of these have been a problem lately. What bothers me about her is her attitude and never telling us when she's having people over. I always say hi to both my roommates when I see them, but second roommate treats me like a fly on the wall. Completely ignores me, doesn't acknowledge me to speak to me unless I say hi, including when she leaves her room and makes eye contact with me in the kitchen. Not a word. Constant resting bitch face and passive-aggressive attitude. She's never once initiated a conversation with me nor asked me how I am. She glares at me and my friends and does the judgmental look you up and down thing. is 100% fine if she doesn't want to be friends. I get it. But holy crap, we are living together. Can we at least treat others like human beings? People are insane with how uncaring they can be towards each other. I think the attitude problem comes from me setting boundaries with her, mentioned in the last paragraph. She's a different kind of entitled compared to my second roommate. As far as she is concerned, the only people who exist to her are herself and her friends, and nobody has the right to impose upon her life. Everything is about her. I've also tried to make it a house rule that we let each other know when we're having people over. Let's be real, nobody likes to come back to an apartment full of strangers or even an entire party without your knowledge. She naturally ignores that. She has people sleeping over all the time. In her room, thankfully, but still weird. I'm done telling second roommate about whether or not I have people over as well. I'm graduating in a month and a half, and I'm going to enjoy what little time I have left of college without giving a single thought to her. I can't wait to move out so I never have to see her naked mole rat face ever again. I'm so done with being the bigger person and constantly tiptoeing around my apartment, trying to be as quiet as possible. I've kept up this act of being a cooperative and nice roommate for 2 years. I'm done. I will no longer micromanage how loudly I set down a plate, or worry about events I want to plan with my friends. 90% of my friends are out of state. I want to make the best of what time I have with them. Even so, I do try to be reasonable. First roommate always lets me know when she has people over, so I do the same for her. If second roommate does not want to afford me basic respect, then I'm all out of craps to give. I don't care if second roommate is miserable at this point. She has made the apartment environment incredibly toxic and unwelcoming. I feel miserable whenever she and her friends are around, and she has a hostile attitude when I have friends over. Insane how I'm paying $1,000 a month for rent with these two pests. At least the location is good. Hellfreezer's note: if you have their phone numbers, make sure you block them as soon as you leave. 2. My husband and I rent out 2 bedrooms in our 3-bedroom, 3-bath house. Couples reside in both of them. One is straight couple and the other is same sex. The straight couple, let's call them E and M, were cool the first month, early February. We had occasional disagreements in house cleanliness, and they would typically get better before reverting back, also with an excuse. I'm tired. I can't wash the dishes due to wet foot. We didn't use that. You didn't know there was a way. We'll be quiet. We doesn't have work in the morning. You know he loves his music. Doop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop. This was before the same-sex couple moved in. Mid-February. Then in mid-February, E and M seemed to lose it. They would leave 3-day to week-old dishes in the sink, not clean up grease, would fill up a 30-gallon trash bag in 3 days and let it spill over, would leave foot spills on the floor, steal others' food, but point fingers when we moved their food in the fridge. That would be sitting for days, not showering for days or weeks, which would make the couches stink, all of which I and my husband cleaned up, and playing screamo music at 12 to 4, or playing the TV so loud it could be heard anywhere. Every time we would bring it up, Anne would lose it, saying, "Everybody is having to get me. That ain't us, it's y'all. Why do you only turn it us?" This confused us, because in group chat I would say, "Hey everyone, please be mindful." I never directly blamed them, yet he had such violent reactions. We did call the police on them a couple of times. One night I'm pretty sure he was choking her, slapping and throwing things at her. But of course when the police arrived, they immediately calmed down and the police said they can't do anything. I think this emboldened them, especially him, to do what he wanted. The behavior got worse. He tried to make scenarios up in his head when he went to work. He would spill the drama to everyone there. My husband and H, one of the same sex, also worked with them. And of course, it got back to them because no one likes M at work because they've described him as hostile, rude, unstable, and also has a strong odor. And H is friends with most of the crew. It didn't take long for everyone to realize that M is spewing BS and started confronting him for being the one causing the issues. This caused M to come home angry. He was stewing in his room for several hours before he and E came out of the kitchen, where H was cooking dinner. M immediately zeroed in on her, calling her a snitch, a drama causer, a bum, and a homophobic slur. You know the one. She retreated to her room, video recording as she did. When M realized this, he stopped but continued to verbally berate her. E immediately started texting me, explaining the situation, twisting it around that H was the aggressor, and that they all have it on camera. What he forgot is that we have cameras in the kitchen and living room, which everyone agreed was fine due to the food-stealing accusations, and it recorded the whole interaction, which of course contradicted E's story. E and M were ecstatic that it was caught on camera, that they finally did their job. That was until we told them they were the aggressor. We would be calling the police, and that they would be receiving a 30-day notice. Woohoo! They immediately blew up. The police, unfortunately, are useless and say since there was no physical altercation, and they were both yelling, H yelled several times for him to stop following her and to go away, so mutual aggression, yeah right, and that it was a civil issue. 30-day notice was served on Friday, 5th of March 2025, and M's behavior has just gotten worse. He's uncontrollably sobbing, we can hear him breaking things, he's taking pictures of the cameras, which he already knows about. Running our water excessively and using all the hot water, heard him giggling about it, is pacing all the time from the front door to their bedroom, and had come up with a master plan to make them all homeless because they can't afford their mortgage without us, and yelling, "You think your house either, bitch," to where me and H would hear it through a closed door when my husband reminded them they are living in our house. E's just quiet. Haven't heard anything from her besides for broken things in the room during their stay. Tonight, 12th of March, they were playing their TV so loud that it could be heard everywhere. We asked them to turn it down or we would have to call the police for their third noise disturbance. We could hear them laughing until my husband sent the actual law code. No laughter and no sound. I can now hear him pacing the house, mumbling and grumbling under his breath at 4 a.m. The police have proven to be useless, and there if we filed for an emergency eviction, it would still be a 5 to 10 day wait for it to process. West Virginia sucks at judicial stuff, where I'm located. I don't know what happened. They were fine and then suddenly some switches flipped. Like bad. I've only ever seen this with my mother, who is a bipolar, narcissistic person, when people ask her to fix it and change something that is affecting others. Or he's just an a-hole. We're hoping they move out sooner than the 30 days. I don't look forward to cleaning their room afterwards because I know he will be petty. But I'm hoping the law is on our side, as we have documentation of everything they've done. Audio, still pictures, texts, printed paper, and the whole 9 yards, but you never know. Thank you for letting me rant. I can't talk about this with my husband, who is on my side but less confrontational, and says let the legal side handle it. And I don't want to bring co-workers and friends into it, so thanks for listening. Hello Freezer's note, the only advice I can offer you there is once they are out, get your locks changed. Front and back, because even when you get the keys back off them, they could have had copies made. They don't sound like stable people, so I wouldn't put it past them. Don't take the risk. 3. In August of 2024, my soon-to-be fiancée, 26 female, and I, 25 male, signed a lease on a 2.5 townhome. This was going to be our last rental before we purchased a house. Before signing the lease, we had the intentions of subleasing our private downstairs bedroom and bathroom to a roommate just to save money on rent so we could save a little more towards the down payment of a house. We interviewed a few people who we thought would be great and could get along very well with. Ultimately, we decided on a roommate named Devin, 22 male. Upon interviewing Devin, he sounded like the ideal roommate. He was currently living with his girlfriend and they had just split, so it was an awkward situation for him. And he was looking to separate from her and move somewhere quiet where he could focus on school and his career. Devin was also a very light drinker who would only drink on special occasions or outings. Both were great green flags. quiet roommate who kept alcohol out of the house. Anyway, fast forward 3 months into his lease, things started to change, and fast. Devin and his girlfriend got back together, and there would be packs of beer in the fridge and pantry. He would have her over 4 or 5 days of the week, staying the night. She would be over when no one was home, which I was not okay with. I don't even live there, and I'm not okay with it. This was a stranger, and the house needed to be empty when no one was home. I was completely fine with a guest staying over 1 or 2 nights out of the week, but Devin overextended the invitation. His out-of-state friend and girlfriend visited 1 week as well, both staying 4 nights and while no one was at home. Essentially, there were 2 strangers in the house while everyone was at work. The friend stayed in the living room and the girlfriend in his bedroom. My fiancé and I could not use the common areas without someone being up there constantly. Upon the 4th night of the friend and girlfriend staying over, I texted Devin, "How long do they plan on staying?" Come on, Devin, buddy, read the subtext. I was not met with a reply, but only a laughing reaction to the message. This upset my fiancé and I a little bit, but decided to try again in the morning, so we texted him again, asking the question, and he was quick to reply that the friend was staying another night, and his girlfriend was leaving today, and that he would put the friend in his room for the last night. We thanked him and carried on, although this was a red flag for us. With the girlfriend constantly staying over, we had enough and finally sat him down and told him that we were okay with guests over but not multiple nights at a time, especially when no one was home. Upon telling him this, he became extremely quiet and petty, distancing himself from us, only coming to common areas to make food and watch a show. His pettiness started with leaving messes in the kitchen, dirty stovetops, microwaves, and full-on leftover meal prep and food in the sink, leaving us to clean. We confronted him about this, and he has stopped coming into the kitchen and living room altogether. Result? So he now keeps to himself in his room for days on end. In addition to this, he also sent us an unsolicited picture of our dog, who is very lazy and unenergetic to everyone but my fiancé and I. I've seen the pictures, the dog is freaking adorable. Laying next to our door with the text reading, "The irony is insane," which set us off big time. With his reaction, I texted him the reasons we were not okay with a guest over so many days out of the week, to further explain ourselves. It was a long text, but very thoughtful and accommodating. He replied with, "This text is wild." We replied with, "Okay," and let it be. Since then, he has not talked, texted, or said hello to us. I have sent many texts to Devin since the situation in regards to just roommate things like, "Hey, there's extra food up here," or "It's going to hail tonight, pull your car into the garage if you want." No replies or acknowledgement from him at all, which continued on for 3 or 4 weeks. Out of the blue one night, he texted me asking for the landlord's number without reason, why he needed it. I replied to his request with "What for?" He said, "Because it'd be nice to have." And I said, "You're subleased through my fiancé and I. You have no reason to contact the landlord. If there's a problem, let me know." There was no reply. The morning after, my fiancé and I gave him a 30-day notice to leave. After all the ghosting, lack of communication, constant guests over, alcohol, and the unsolicited photo of our dog, we had enough. Do you think I'm in the wrong? Or was too hard? Hellfreezer's note, I think you were far too patient with this child. You gave him far more grace and consideration than really he should have gotten, and that shows that you and your partner are good people. It's unfortunate that he didn't take advantage of the opportunity to sort of reset things with you guys and continue on with a more beneficial status quo. He certainly overstepped himself in what should be common sense when you're renting a room in a house, a shared living space. You're renting the room. You can't practically have your partner living there. Certainly not 2 guests at a time. He had plenty of opportunities, he chose not to avail himself of them. You did the right thing. 24. I, 24, female, used to be really good friends with one of my current roommates, also 24 and female. We mostly had a good time being in the same school program, smoking weed, drinking, and being gay. One of the last parties we went to together, I met my girlfriend, also 24, whom I love and adore. Ever since I started dating, though, my roommate has been acting increasingly weird and antisocial towards us. Back a couple of months ago, my roommate made a first complaint about my girlfriend and I being too lovey-dovey. We were just starting our relationship, and I understand honeymoon phases can be a lot for those not involved. So we started mostly hanging out inside my bedroom or outside the house. A couple of weeks after the first incident, roommate came with another complaint, saying we were being too loud during sex. Again, I understood that hearing people having sex can be annoying, so within 5 minutes of her complaint, I ordered a door sound muffler. After that, roommate also complained that my girlfriend should be more covered. She was wearing a big shirt and shorts combo after napping, when going to the bathroom. That made me extremely angry because 1, those were my shorts and were never an issue before this, and 2, my girlfriend should be allowed to be comfortable at home without having her body being policed. Roommate has made another sex noise-related complaint after that, which is weird because we are barely at my apartment anymore. After all this, my girlfriend and I now spend over half of the week at her place instead. In response to her latest complaints, I additionally provided my own sanitized noise-cancelling headphones for her to use whenever she would want. Yet again, she sent another complaint yesterday that we were being too loud and that it is unacceptable and dismissive. I want to be a good roommate and come up with a diplomatic fix, but the only solutions that would appease the roommate is to have completely silent sex or not have sex at all. Ding, 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 ding. That's what she wants, that one there. Which is not something we are willing to compromise on. I'm not about to tell my girlfriend mid-climax that she should be quiet, because that's rude as hell. It's only for a couple of seconds, minutes, max. Minutes, good for you. And I love her, especially since we only have sex inside my bedroom, not in roommate's bed or in shared common areas. I understand overhearing things can be frustrating, but at this point it's getting hard to believe the reason my roommate is so pressed is just about sex noises. Previously, I had also overheard her having sex, as well as many other neighbors, and I never got this upset over it. My girlfriend's roommate has also never made a complaint like this before, and we sleep there more often. I fear there might not be a truly good solution, and in anything we do, she will find something else to be upset about. My therapist has suggested that I try having a conversation with her, but it's been hard, mostly because she constantly signals to me that she does not want any form of communication. For example, she does not greet me back when we meet, and she does not answer most text messages I send, even when I ask if she needs something from the grocery store, or when I send her academic opportunities, or maybe cool events happening in town. My girlfriend also has attempted to restart a good relationship with my roommate by saying hi and cracking up jokes when she sees her, but my roommate usually ignores her or scrunches up her face. Is there a reasonable solution here? It has come to the point that I don't want to expose my girlfriend to my apartment anymore, because it is such a hostile environment. However, I have pets I miss and I have to care for, as well as a 40-minute commute from work to my girlfriend's place, so staying at her place only is not an option. Just to clarify, roommate and I were never romantically involved, nor was there any romantic interest. We were just good friends. Roommate also has a girlfriend, but she lives a couple of cities away. Girlfriend and I are looking to move in together, but our current leases end in a couple of months. Hellfreezer's note: well, your option is essentially just to ride it out until the lease ends and then move in with your girlfriend, at which point your former roommate will regret acting the way she has, because I think what's happening here is she's jealous that you're getting to spend so much time with your girlfriend, and she's having less time with hers. Or it could be that you're spending more time with your girlfriend, and she feels like she's losing her friend, which, suck it up, buttercup, that's her problem. Of course you're spending more time with your partner. You're in a new relationship and needs time and attention to grow. These are very important stages for a new relationship. I get why people maybe suggested that she had some romantic attraction towards you. It's a very easy place to go to when someone suddenly starts acting like that when they're friends in a relationship. But as you say, it's probably not the case. I do imagine if your roommate was spending more time with her partner, then she'd be a lot easier to be around and a lot more understanding because, quite frankly, you're getting all the things she's probably missing. 5. I lived with this girl who was never home and always out modeling or running errands. I have no clue why she never wanted to be home, as everyone in the house got along. So I asked her one day, "Now that you got a dog, do you think you'll be home more?" She said yes. I was really trying to hint that she would have to be home more. She said that she would have to be in order to take care of her dog. I even made it a point to tell her that she should especially be home during her dog's baby time, so she could potty train right away. Well, she did not. She wasn't even working or running errands. She was just going to hang out with friends or stalk her ex. Not kidding. As she was very beautiful, men would often do favors for her. She had a type of simp friend that would come over every day and take her dog out once. Okay, cool, I don't care how. I just care that she does, since the dog was not potty trained. Her male friend worked, so he couldn't always be there to take her out. My housemate ended up asking me to take her dog out. I stupidly said yes a couple of times. It beats her dog pooping inside. What ticks me off even more is that this girl drove 3 hours to get a dog that she only took care of for a week or maybe less. Let me just say that this girl ended up being a narcissist. Shocking! I realized that she wanted a dog for a photo op. She wanted her friends and followers to know she has a dog in order to make herself appear caring. The part that annoys me the most is that I was having a house party. My party is almost over. When she finally gets home from picking up the dog, she goes, "Hey, I need you to send everyone home because the dog doesn't like all this noise." I'm like, girl, you just got this dog? What do you mean the dog doesn't like it? Meanwhile, said dog is running around the house and interacting so well with all the guests. I know she just couldn't stand that I was having a party, and she wanted to make it all about her. She wanted to throw herself into the center of attention by making it about her dog. So this conflicting behavior goes on for about 6 more months or so. Eventually the dog goes in heat. How you doing? So, what does my housemate do? She literally just put diapers on the dog and put puppy pads down. Me, a person who has trained 8 dogs in my life, told her how puppy pads are supposed to be for dogs that cannot go outside. To train dogs to go outside, it's not hard. I've always done training that way. When the dog is young, you start using a puppy pad for the dog to go on. Each day you're supposed to move the pad closer and closer to the door until your dog starts associating outside as the place to go potty. I wonder if that would work on people. One night I come home from work exhausted. I ask housemate if she had gotten her dog fixed yet. It wasn't even housemate's suggestion that she get her dog fixed. Nope. She just put the diaper on and delayed it. The thing is, this was a black lab. They're not stupid. As soon as housemate left for the day, the dog would rip its diaper off and run pooping and peeing and bleeding period all over the house. One night the dog starts acting really strange. The poor thing was pooping, peeing, puking, and ovulating all at once. No room in the house had been spared. I begged my housemate to take her dog to an emergency clinic. She kept telling me that I was overreacting and that her dad said so and this was nothing to worry about. Well, I did worry. I really had to snap her back to normal senses because I had until then never saw a dog do all of those things at once. My housemate seemed so nice and caring, generous when I moved in. We were BFFs for 2 years before that. We would go on drives and talk for hours about life, boys, that sort of thing. I always believed her that she was a victim. No, one of those. Not a problem, as she always had a new man that would do something wrong. One day she wants me to go riding with her to get her stuff from an ex in the town over. Supposedly, the ex was going to set her stuff on his porch at his townhome. We waited and waited, and she swore he was going to come out and put stuff down. It wasn't until after I moved that I realized she had been stalking him. I remember stories that she had told saying that she had to leave her favorite restaurant because he showed up there. She made no sense. She didn't know that I would catch it, but she had told me before this restaurant was the hangout spot him and his friends went to. He was the one who showed her that spot. It's not freaking random that he showed up there, but she acted like it was. She acted like he could not give her a break. Me and her had a mutual friend as well, Girl B. Girl B was on the rocks with her man, and they split up for a couple of weeks. Well. My housemate ends up getting with him. Whore. She then proceeded to act like this ex-girl was all this drama and conflict. Like, no, baby. You interjected yourself, knowing that they would probably get back together. An even crazier time was when we drove out to a secluded house on a back road. She had gotten me to come under the pretext that we would be ghost hunting. Tells me she starts telling me that it's yet another guy's mom's house. So the ghosts of her exes. The mom had passed. Housemate starts saying stuff like, I wonder if the mother would approve of me dating her sons. Sons? This girl had dated both of the mom's sons, and she was trying to seek some sort of validation beyond the veil. So, my birthday rolls around in June. For the past 2 months, housemate has been a party planner, planning 3 different friends' parties. How thoughtful. She bought all the decorations too. So my birthday comes and housemate comes into the house and we small talk. She figures out it is my birthday because she forgot and didn't know. She's like, oh wow, I'm so sorry. Let's go to Five Below so I can get your twin brother a gift. Five Below? You just bought 3 expensive gifts for your new friends' birthdays, yet me and my twin are worth Five Below. Housemate also says we're going to go to this park to swim in the waterfall. She wanted to make it special. She wanted to make it up to us. This was another crazy lie. The only reason she wanted to go to the waterfall was to take a picture for this magazine she was in. I never knew what a self-absorbed person she was because she was beautiful and could lie so easily. I think she believed in the lies too. I should have seen the red flags. Before I moved in with her, I lived with my mom. My mom ended up dying and overdosing in front of me and my twin, while I'm on the phone with future housemate. Future housemate comes over and follows us to the hospital. At this point, the paramedics would not confirm if she was dead or alive, and I already knew she was dead. But the hospital put us in the waiting room before letting us know if my mom was dead. The hospital was under police orders to wait, to tell us until we talked to a sheriff. I guess this was to try to get information out of us, which I really didn't know was a thing, as I don't do hard drugs. Housemate gets tired of waiting and has to leave because she needs to get with her model friend who is gonna edit her pictures. Imagine my shock and surprise when I found out months later that she didn't do that. She gave herself away and told me that in fact she edits all her own photos, so she abandoned me in my time of need because it wasn't all about her. No matter how many times I cleaned the house while living with her, she wouldn't clean. It felt like an uphill battle. She would constantly text stupid nonsense saying, hey, can one of you please get this mark off the counter? Like, girl, I know damn well you're not trying to order someone around who is the only one cleaning. I guess she wanted to feel like she was doing something. One time I was so scared when a cop knocked on the door. I don't do anything illegal, but I'm a little bit anxious, thinking, what could this policeman want with any of us? He asks for my housemate. He says he is there to serve housemate papers. Ha! I told him I'd give it to her. I unfold them, and it's another protection order. One day, pretty as could be, there was an envelope that fell out of one of her boxes in the garage. I was putting away Christmas stuff. I know I shouldn't have read it, but I did. The paper was some sort of protection order, ordered against her by one of her exes. I went to put that paper back and come to find out she had like 5 of these same orders with other guys. I stopped feeling bad that I was doing all these wrong things to her. I realized that I wasn't the problem at all. I confronted her one day about all this, and then my twin slaps me for being rude to her. With a what now? She even had him in her grasp. My twin brother has since seen her in her true manner of being and apologized to me. I remember one time, I was going to the new adult arcade with my friend group. She said she had plans with her friend group. I invited her to come with. She said no. Get this. I'm at the table with my friends drinking a beer before we play games, and all of a sudden I see housemate and friends. Rules for thee but not for me is the reason I will never do this again. And for those wondering, she did eventually take the dog to urgent care and everything was fine. Something the dog ate while she was not watching. The dog recovered just fine. I loved that dog too because I'm great with animals. I never saw the dog again because I moved. Right before I left, she claimed she was having the dog stay at her dad's house because I made such a big deal, almost hinting that I did something to her dog. I'm assuming it's her dad's dog now. Her parents always believed everything she said and they put up with her BS. Because they enabled it, she most likely pawned the dog off on her dad. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Bad Roommates, episode 63. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Before you go, please do hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already done so. If you'd like to support the channel, you can do that by joining me on my Patreon page. Just click on over and sign up. As little as $1 a month is very helpful. And you can also buy yourself some Hellfreezer merchandise, which is linked in the description. If you'd like to leave a tip, you can do that on this or any other video by clicking on the heart with a $sign underneath. Okay, that's the businessy part out of the way. Let's move on to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, what is the current song you have stuck in your head? For me, it's The Gambler by Kenny Rogers. I don't know why. I do like the song, but it just, I haven't listened to it for a while, but it just kind of popped into my head the other day, and it's been doing the rounds ever since. Let me know what you think in a comment below. And before we go, let's take a look at the answer of the day from a previous video. This one comes from Bad Roommate 62, and I think the question was, how many of y'all good folks have dishwashers? Today's answer comes from... And today's answer comes from Rachel Lang, or Langa if you're German. I looked it up. There's apparently a million different ways to pronounce that name. Anyway, we have a dishwasher, and it's just my husband and I. I do still hand wash some of our dishes, as it can harm some older dishes and non-stick pans. So I use our dishwasher about twice a week in the winter, and more often in the summer, as we don't have air conditioning and it gets pretty hot in our apartment. Ooh, that's another thing I'd love to have, air conditioning. If I'm ever wealthy enough to buy a house, maybe this house or maybe something somewhere else, I'm going to get all the fancy stuff and like air conditioning would be amazing. But a man can dream until then. Thank you very much for your answer, Rachel Lang. And with that, I'm going to head off for now, so until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.